Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to BOS Labs. My name is Chuy Gutierrez, and today I want to talk about softboxes. I do a lot of run and gun shooting, and sometimes you don't know what the lighting situation is going to be, so you usually bring some sort of lighting gear with you, especially if you're going to be doing some sort of on-site interview or any interview in general. You want to have more control of your lights, so you bring some sort of fixture with you, and with that comes lighting modifiers. In most cases, it'll be some sort of softbox if you're trying to do a quick setup, or something, anything to diffuse the light to give you a softer look. So then the question comes, do you want something small and compact that's easy to set up, easy to put away, easy to carry, or do you want to bring something larger that's going to give you a different quality of light? And the answer to that question is, it's really on you. It's your call, right? It's your call as the creator, as the person with the vision, person coming up with this entire shoot. So today I want to talk about specifically the softboxes that Nanlite has for their Forza series of lights. I have 3 of them here in the studio. I have the Forza 60 softbox, the parabolic 120, and the parabolic 150. So I'll be testing these lights just to see what kind of quality of light they give on Ben. And I'm gonna be using a Forza 60 for the 60 softbox. I'm gonna be using a Forza 200 for the softbox 120. And I'm gonna be using a Forza 500 for the parabolic 150. Now, that's just to make things easier for me. They will all be adjusted in power as far as to give me the same exposure on Ben. So I'll be using a light meter, a Sekonic light meter, to make sure that I'm getting the same exposure on Ben while testing these softboxes. They will also be around a 45-degree angle, kind of raised up to the camera left or right. And I'll make sure to measure the distance between the subject and the light fixture itself. So it's about the same, about 3 or 4 feet away from Ben, so that we kind of get a more controlled kind of example, so you can see the quality of light and you can see the fall off of the light on Ben, how the shadows move, and we'll kind of just be testing out these lighting modifiers. So we're gonna start off with the Forza 60, which is one of my favorite lights because it's so small and compact, and it could run on batteries for a long time. I have some of the Nanlite battery packs, and this thing could run for hours on a single battery. The Forza 200 and the 500 also have the capability of being used with batteries, but those definitely drain a lot more since they do output more light. But the Forza 60 is awesome. It's small, it's compact, and it's got this really cool Forza 60 softbox that doesn't come with a speed ring. It's easy to set up. Everything's already set up. You just kind of bring out the rods, they snap into place, you pop it on, and then you're ready to go. So you've turned a small light source into a large light source. And that's what we're trying to do here. When it comes to lighting, the bigger that your light source is in relation to your subject, the softer the light will be, right? So by making these lights bigger and bigger and bigger, we should be getting softer qualities of light. Now, how big is the difference between a small and a giant softbox is what we're gonna see today. So here we have the Forza 60, and it's got the Forza 60 softbox on it. So what we're gonna do real quick is we're gonna have this base exposure. We see Ben, I'm gonna have him tilt his head from side to side. Now that we have that, I'm just gonna turn off so you can see what it looks like without this light on in my room. And lastly, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a close-up on Ben's face just so you can get a different look at what the quality of light is with this softbox. Next, we're gonna move over to the Forza 200 and the parabolic 120. Now this is a pretty drastic jump from the Forza 60 softbox to the parabolic 120. So we should see a pretty big difference in the kind of fall off and in the spill of light that we have on the scene. So this Forza 200 is probably my favorite out of the line. It's small and compact, not quite as small as the Forza 60, but still definitely smaller than a 500. And it just packs so easily, carries so well. It could be run off one V-mount battery, and it's got an umbrella holder. And if you watched one of my earlier videos, I talked about how that is my favorite go-to modifier because it's easy to set up and easy to travel with. So yeah, the Forza 200 is definitely my favorite. So here it is with the parabolic 120, and this is the quality of light on Ben. We're gonna dim it down so you can see what the room looks like without it, so you can see the fall off not just only on Ben, but also on the background and in the room. And now we're gonna turn it back on, and we're gonna go ahead and go in for a close-up. And that's the Forza 200 with the parabolic 120 softbox by Nanlite. Next, we have the Forza 500 with the parabolic 150 softbox. So the jump between this softbox and the 120 isn't quite as drastic as the 60 to the 120, but it is quite significant. This is a big, huge softbox that can actually fit people in it if you turn it into a little dome, kind of like an igloo. Here you see a photo of Brandy Nicole and Emily Teague in the parabolic 150. I use this light modifier to do a dual interview. So this is a much larger modifier. It's much deeper than the 120. I use this when lighting multiple people that might be sitting next to each other because it's got plenty of spread and it still gives us a nice soft quality of lights. So here we have the Forza 500 with the parabolic 150 softbox. You can see the way the light's falling on the subject as well as how it's affecting the shadows. Now we're gonna turn it off so we can see what's going on in the room, and we're slowly gonna dim it back up. And finally, we're gonna do a close-up on Ben. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, especially if you've invested into researching Nanlite's products, is they do make a softbox in between the Forza 60 softbox and the parabolic 120, and that is the parabolic 90. And that's a nice sweet spot between the 60 and the 120, which I don't own and I don't have here in the studio. But I figured I would test something different. I have an Elechrome Rotolux 39-inch octabox that kind of fits that gap a little bit. So I'm gonna pop it on to the Forza because it's got a Bowen style mount, and we're gonna see how this looks. So we're gonna do the same exact test, same exact measurements, make sure that I have the same exposure, and we're gonna test that out on Ben, and here it is. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and dim so we can see what the fall off is. And now we're gonna bring him back up. And now we're gonna go in for our close-up so you can see what it's doing up. You can see the catch lights, you can see what it's doing in detail. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you each one back to back. So this is the Forza 60 with the Forza 60 softbox. This is the Forza 200 with the parabolic 120. This is the Forza 500 with the parabolic 150. And lastly, I put the Elechrome Rotolux softbox on the Forza 200. And now let's do a side-by-side so you can compare and contrast. We'll do both the wider shot and then a close-up shot. And there you have it. Tests like these not only help me out, but kind of just are fun to do and kind of are a quick reminder of what the quality of light you get depending on the gear that you take. I don't always go for the same modifier, and doing tests like this let me kind of just reintroduce myself into what some of my modifiers do. A lot of the times my go-to is the parabolic 120, and I will often just pick this one and go with that when sometimes that's not the quality of light I need. Sometimes I do need something with a little bit more punch, maybe a softer light source will do. Sometimes I need something with a, bigger, softer vibe to it, and I'll take the 150. So doing tests like this are a quick reminder for me to play with my modifiers, to try something different, and to start looking at other ways to modify my light, right? Sometimes we get bored and we want something new, and it might just take getting a bigger or smaller modifier for you. So yeah, hopefully this video helped. If you have any comments or questions, concerns, anything, leave that in the comment section down below. If you like the content you see on this channel, please give us a subscribe. And if you like this video in particular, you can give us a thumbs up. We'll see you next week. Have a good day.